The arena was buzzing with excitement. Fans from all over the world had packed into the stadium, their eyes glued to the center of the ring. On one side stood the so-called world's strongest fighter, a towering figure whose reputation for brute power had spread across continents. His chest puffed with arrogance, a smirk plastered across his face as he flexed for the roaring crowd. Everyone expected this man to dominate, to intimidate, to show why they called him unbeatable. But then, silence fell as a calm figure stepped into the ring. Bruce Lee. Unlike the fighter, Bruce carried no flashy entrance, no loud boasts, no exaggerated gestures. His eyes scanned the arena, focused, calculating. Every step he took was precise, his presence alone commanding attention. The contrast between the two fighters couldn't have been more obvious. One relied on raw strength and intimidation. The other relied on discipline, skill, and speed. The crowd leaned in, sensing something extraordinary about to unfold. The so-called strongest fighter laughed, mocking Bruce Lee under his breath. "You think you can beat me?" He sneered. He stretched, showing off his muscles, trying to shake Bruce with his confidence. The audience cheered, many believing the fight was already decided. Yet, Bruce didn't respond with words, didn't even flinch. His calmness was disarming, almost hypnotic. In those few seconds, tension crackled like electricity through the arena. Everyone could feel it, the thrill, the fear, the anticipation. You could almost hear the thoughts of the spectators. Could brute strength really be challenged by speed and precision? Who will move first? Who will win? And then, the subtle moment that no one noticed at first, Bruce shifted his weight, his stance barely changing, yet perfectly prepared. Every eye in the arena was unknowingly waiting for a reaction they couldn't predict. The fighter's arrogance had lulled them into a false sense of security. They didn't realize that in the very next heartbeat, everything would change. Everyone thought this fighter was unbeatable. But what Bruce Lee did next shocked every single person in the arena. The world's strongest fighter wasn't just confident, he was arrogant. He strutted around the ring like he owned it, throwing taunts and challenges at Bruce Lee. "You're just a small man." He laughed loudly, his voice echoing through the arena. "Do you really think you can beat me?" The crowd cheered for the show of power, but some were already sensing something unusual. Bruce Lee didn't react. Not a word, not a gesture. He simply stood, focused, letting the fighter exhaust himself with empty bravado. Every move the fighter made was designed to intimidate. He stomped, flexed, and even slapped the mat with his open hand, daring Bruce to attack. The audience leaned forward, cameras and phones raised, recording every detail. You could almost feel their minds racing. Will he strike first? Can someone really stop him? Then came the first subtle signs of panic on the fighter's face. Bruce didn't move quickly, at least, not visibly, but his eyes were locked, calculating every angle. It was the calm before a storm. And this calm wasn't just physical, it was mental. Bruce's presence alone started to shift the energy in the arena. Where there was once excitement for raw power, a growing curiosity and tension began to spread. The crowd was split. Some still cheered for the fighter, confident in his strength, while others whispered in awe, sensing something extraordinary about Bruce Lee. At that moment, you could see it in the fighter's expression. His arrogance was starting to crack. He tried a few more taunts, throwing quick jabs and shouts, but Bruce didn't flinch. The silence in Bruce's movements spoke louder than the fighter's loud boasts. Every person in the arena felt the magnetic intensity between them, one fueled by pride and aggression, the other by skill, focus, and unparalleled control. The tension escalated further as cameras zoomed in on every reaction. Phones were held high, recording the impending clash. Bystanders whispered to each other, "He doesn't even look afraid." Is he? Ready? Every second dragged like an eternity, mentally trapping the audience in anticipation. And here's where the engagement comes in. The crowd watching at home could feel the mental game unfolding. Bruce Lee wasn't just preparing physically, he was making the strongest fighter doubt himself. And that doubt was spreading to everyone watching. Have you ever seen someone act overconfident and then get completely outsmarted? Comment below which country or city you're watching this from. By now, the fighter's arrogance was almost tangible, like smoke filling the arena. Every punch he threw, every flex, only made him more predictable. Bruce Lee's calm composure wasn't just impressive, it was terrifying to watch. You could feel the crowd leaning forward, breath held, waiting for that one moment when Bruce would strike. And then, almost imperceptibly, Bruce shifted his weight. His body remained still to the untrained eye, but he was ready. Every muscle was coiled, every sense sharpened. The arena didn't realize it yet, but in just a few seconds, the strongest fighter's world was about to change forever. The arena was electric. Every spectator, from the front row to the highest balcony, leaned forward, sensing the moment that could change everything. The world's strongest fighter flexed his muscles, his confidence bordering on arrogance, convinced he could end the fight before it even began. He laughed, shouted, and taunted Bruce Lee, throwing exaggerated punches into the air as if to say, "I am untouchable." But Bruce Lee remained motionless, calm, his eyes locked onto his opponent. He didn't rush, didn't flinch, and didn't react to the insults or the intimidation. That calmness, it was almost magnetic, drawing the attention of everyone in the arena. You could see it in the fighter's eyes, a flicker of unease, a subtle doubt that maybe, just maybe, he had underestimated Bruce Lee. Then it happened. The fighter lunged first. He charged forward with brute force, thinking sheer strength and aggression would overwhelm Bruce. His movements were heavy, loud, and predictable, exactly what Bruce had been waiting for. The crowd gasped, holding their breath. Phones and cameras shook in hands as every angle captured the impending clash. Bruce's reaction was breathtaking. He barely moved. To the untrained eye, it looked like he was standing still, but in reality, every fiber of his being was in motion. His body coiled like a spring, ready to release energy with perfect precision. The fighter's first punch came swinging in a wide arc, but Bruce stepped aside effortlessly, almost as if he had anticipated it before it even happened. The audience murmured in disbelief. Did he just dodge that without even moving? The mental game was in full effect. The stronger fighter's confidence began to crumble as he realized he wasn't in control. Every aggressive move he made was countered by Bruce's calm composure, forcing him into mistakes. Sweat glistened on his forehead and his breathing quickened. He tried to taunt Bruce again, but his words sounded hollow now, even to the crowd that had cheered for him moments ago. Meanwhile, Bruce didn't just rely on speed. He used timing, precision, and anticipation. He wasn't trying to overpower his opponent, he was controlling him with subtle movements, creating doubt in his mind, mentally breaking him down before the physical confrontation even escalated. This was the brilliance of Bruce Lee. He didn't fight with ego. He fought with strategy, patience, and intelligence. The tension in the arena skyrocketed. Spectators could feel it in their chests. Every second stretched longer than the last. People whispered, some in awe, some in fear, but all mentally trapped by the unfolding drama. Could anyone stand against such precision? How would the fight end? If you were in Bruce Lee's shoes, would you strike first or wait for the perfect moment? Comment strike or WAIT. The fighter lunged again, desperation creeping into his movements. But Bruce Lee's eyes never left him. With a subtle shift of his weight, a nearly invisible movement of his foot, Bruce positioned himself for what would soon become legendary. The first punch had been dodged, the second anticipated, and the world was about to witness a masterclass in speed and strategy. The crowd's energy changed. It was no longer cheering blindly for strength. Awe, disbelief, and suspense gripped every person. Even the most confident fans of the strongest fighter could sense that everything was about to flip in an instant. Bruce Lee's calm stare, unshaken posture, and strategic brilliance had mentally trapped not only the fighter but the entire audience. The question now lingered: could anyone survive what was coming next? The arena was completely silent now, a stark contrast to the deafening cheers from moments ago. The world's strongest fighter had begun to sense that something was not in his favor. Each failed lunge, each swing that Bruce Lee dodged effortlessly, chipped away at his confidence. But he still didn't know what he was truly up against. He still didn't understand the storm that was about to hit him. The legendary Shadowless Kick. Bruce Lee stood perfectly still, his feet lightly planted, weight distributed with precision, eyes scanning every micro-movement of his opponent. There was no rush, no unnecessary motion. To anyone watching, it might have looked like he was simply observing, but every muscle in his body was coiled like a spring, ready to unleash unparalleled speed. This wasn't about strength. This was about focus, skill, and pure mastery. The fighter, meanwhile, was growing restless. Sweat glistened across his forehead, his chest heaving. He tried to regain control, taunting Bruce Lee, waving his arms and letting out loud challenges. "Come on, show me what you've got," he shouted. But Bruce didn't react. He let the fighter exhaust himself further, mentally trapping him in overconfidence. Every second Bruce waited, the more the fighter became predictable. The crowd felt it too. Murmurs spread across the stands. He hasn't even moved. How is he going to fight? Some fans were leaning forward, hearts racing. Phones hovered in the air, ready to capture every split second of what they knew was about to become historic. And even as the fighter tried to anticipate Bruce's next move, he was already too late. Bruce's mind was 3 steps ahead, already calculating, already preparing. Then came the subtle shift, a micro-adjustment of Bruce's stance, barely noticeable to the untrained eye. His body remained calm, but the tension in the arena thickened. Every spectator felt it in their chest, a mix of suspense and awe. Even the fighter's eyes flickered, a tiny hint of doubt creeping in. The world had seen champions before, but Bruce Lee's presence demanded respect on a different level. The fighter lunged again, this time with desperation, trying to assert dominance, to land a punch, to regain his pride. But Bruce anticipated it instantly, sidestepping with fluid precision. The Shadowless Kick was about to be unleashed, a strike so fast, so invisible, that even the keenest observer would struggle to see it. The audience could sense it building, but none could predict exactly when it would hit. If you think Bruce Lee will win in the next moment, type fast. If you think the fighter still has a chance, type strong. Every second now felt like an eternity. The strongest fighter's arrogance had trapped him in his own predictability, while Bruce Lee's calm intelligence dominated the mental game. The air was thick with anticipation, every eye in the arena fixated on the smallest twitch, the faintest movement, waiting for the inevitable. And then, just before the moment of impact, Bruce Lee shifted his weight slightly, preparing to launch the Shadowless Kick. The crowd didn't yet realize that in mere seconds, what they thought was strength would be outmatched by precision, speed, and absolute mastery. Every heartbeat in that arena, every person holding a camera, every spectator at home watching online, was now trapped in suspense, mentally and emotionally caught in the invisible snare of what was coming. The world was about to witness the impossible. A kick so fast it defied sight, so precise it would change the fight forever. The Shadowless Kick was ready, and the strongest fighter had no idea it was about to end him in the blink of an eye. Time seemed to slow in the arena. Every heartbeat, every breath, every eye in the crowd was locked on the two fighters. The world's strongest fighter was still focused on brute force, muscles tensed, adrenaline pumping, confident that his power would carry the day. But Bruce Lee's calm, unshakable focus had already set the stage. He wasn't fighting with strength, he was fighting with intelligence, precision, and speed beyond human comprehension. Then it happened. In a flash, Bruce Lee launched the Shadowless Kick. It was almost impossible to see, a blur of lightning-fast movement aimed with absolute precision. The fighter barely had time to react. His mind screamed, his body attempted to block, but it was too late. The kick landed perfectly, instantly throwing him off balance. The arena gasped. Silence followed a moment so heavy that even the cheering fans seemed frozen. The strongest fighter, who moments ago had radiated arrogance and invincibility, now stumbled backward, stunned, unable to comprehend what had just occurred. His eyes widened in disbelief, mouth agape. This wasn't just a physical strike, it was a psychological blow. A humbling moment that left everyone watching utterly shocked. Bruce Lee didn't shout, didn't celebrate. He remained calm, his breathing steady, his gaze focused. That simple composure made the moment even more powerful. The audience realized that what they had just witnessed wasn't luck or power alone, it was mastery, skill, and control. The kick had arrived faster than the eye could follow, yet executed with perfect technique, leaving the strongest fighter completely defenseless. The crowd erupted. Cheers, gasps, and shouts filled the arena. Phones captured the moment from every angle, videos that would soon go viral, spreading Bruce Lee's legend further than anyone could imagine. Even the fighter's own team stared in disbelief. They had come to see strength dominate skill, but instead, they had witnessed the exact opposite. Could you even react that fast if your life depended on it? Comment YES if you think you could, nitrogen monoxide if not. As the fighter hit the floor, the silence returned just for a heartbeat before the realization sank in. The strongest fighter, undefeated in reputation and feared by all, had been knocked out in just 12 seconds. The crowd's amazement wasn't just at the speed, it was at the mastery, the flawless execution, and the humility with which Bruce carried himself. Even in defeat, the fighter remained a figure of awe. His arrogance had led to this moment, but Bruce Lee's brilliance had made it unforgettable. The lesson was clear. True power isn't measured by size or raw strength, it's measured by skill, focus, and intelligence. Bruce Lee didn't need to gloat, shout, or flex. His actions spoke louder than words ever could. The mental and emotional trap was complete. Viewers at home, spectators in the arena, and fans around the world couldn't stop replaying what had just happened. They were left questioning their own assumptions about strength, speed, and mastery. How could someone so calm and composed dismantle the supposedly strongest fighter in mere seconds? The fighter lay on the mat, humbled, while Bruce Lee stood silently, a picture of focus and discipline. The crowd cheered for both, the incredible fighter who had dominated physically, and the genius who had outsmarted and outclassed him. Every second of this fight had captivated the audience. Every movement had mentally and emotionally trapped them, leaving them glued to the story, awestruck and inspired. The world had just witnessed a moment that would live forever in the minds of martial arts. Fans everywhere. Bruce Lee's Shadowless Kick. Faster than the eye could follow, precise beyond belief, and victorious in just 12 seconds. The moment the world's strongest fighter hit the floor, a hush fell over the arena. The crowd had gone from cheering to stunned silence in an instant, as if everyone collectively realized the impossible had just happened. The fighter, who had radiated confidence and arrogance just moments before, now lay sprawled across the mat, his chest heaving, eyes wide with disbelief. The raw display of Bruce Lee's skill had left him completely humiliated, and the audience couldn't look away. Bruce Lee stood calm and composed, his breathing steady, his expression unreadable. There was no gloating, no arrogance. He simply watched as the stunned fighter struggled to regain his bearings. That silence was more powerful than any roar. Every person in the arena, from spectators to officials, felt the impact of what they had just witnessed. It wasn't just a knockout. It was a statement about mastery, discipline, and the danger of underestimating someone based on appearances. The fighter slowly sat up, rubbing his head, and for the first time, humility replaced arrogance. His eyes met Bruce Lee's, and in that silent exchange, the lesson was clear. Strength alone is never enough. The audience erupted into cheers, not just for Bruce Lee, but for the sheer brilliance of what had unfolded. Phones and cameras were recording every second, videos destined to go viral, replayed countless times by people around the world trying to comprehend the speed, precision, and calm of the legendary kick. Bruce Lee extended a hand, not in victory, but in respect. The fighter hesitated, then took it. The moment wasn't about humiliation. It was about learning, about witnessing greatness firsthand. The crowd, sensing the mutual respect, cheered even louder. Whispers ran through the arena. That's Bruce Lee, the master. No one moves like that. Have you ever seen someone stay completely calm and dominate a situation like this? Share your story in the comments. The aftermath wasn't limited to the arena. Clips of the fight began circulating online, and social media exploded. Fans, martial artists, and casual viewers alike praised Bruce Lee's brilliance. Comment sections filled with awestruck reactions. Unbelievable. Faster than the eye can see. This is what true mastery looks like. Arrogance never wins against skill. Even commentators and analysts were stunned. Every angle captured Bruce Lee's precision, the perfect stance, the flawless timing, the balance between patience and explosive power. It wasn't just the kick. It was the mental and emotional dominance that accompanied it. Bruce had mentally trapped his opponent before the physical strike even landed. A demonstration of strategy, intelligence, and absolute control. The humbled fighter now stood, brushing himself off, nodding slightly to Bruce Lee. The lesson was clear. Not just to him, but to every viewer, arrogance and overconfidence can only carry someone so far. Skill, focus, and respect for the craft triumph every time. Bruce didn't need to shout, taunt, or display unnecessary bravado. His presence, his calm, and his action said everything. The crowd continued to cheer for minutes, adrenaline still coursing through the arena. Even those who had initially doubted Bruce Lee's ability couldn't deny it now. He had turned the strongest fighter's arrogance into a lesson for everyone, proving that true mastery doesn't just knock someone out physically, it humbles them mentally and emotionally too. By the time the fighter left the ring, he had been transformed. Bruce Lee's Shadowless Kick was not just a knockout. It was a symbol of discipline, intelligence, and respect. And the world had witnessed it firsthand. Every camera, every recording, every story shared online carried the same message. Never underestimate skill, precision, and calm focus, no matter how strong your opponent may seem. The arena had quieted, but the world outside was just waking up to what had just happened. Clips of Bruce Lee's Shadowless Kick spread across every platform imaginable. Phones, cameras, and social media had captured the moment from every angle. Within hours, millions of people were watching, sharing, and commenting, completely captivated by the speed, precision, and calm mastery Bruce Lee had displayed. Every video replayed the same shocking truth: the world's strongest fighter, the man everyone thought was unbeatable, had been knocked out in just 12 seconds. The knockout wasn't just physical, it was mental and emotional. Bruce Lee had outsmarted and outclassed him, leaving spectators around the world in awe. Comments flooded in insane speed. Skill beats strength every time. Bruce Lee is the ultimate master. The fight became more than just a physical contest. It became a lesson in discipline, humility, and respect. Even fans who had previously doubted Bruce Lee's abilities were left speechless. Analysts, martial artists, and casual viewers alike tried to describe what they had witnessed, but no words seemed sufficient. The Shadowless Kick wasn't just a technique. It was a demonstration of what happens when intelligence, patience, and focus meet perfection. Bruce had proven that raw power alone could never dominate skill and strategy. The humbled fighter, who had entered the arena brimming with arrogance, had become an example of what happens when overconfidence meets mastery. Bruce Lee didn't gloat or brag. He simply demonstrated his craft flawlessly, letting his actions speak louder than words. His humility amplified the awe of the audience, showing that true mastery doesn't need to prove itself, it exists quietly, decisively, and unassailably. The online reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Millions of viewers shared their thoughts, trying to capture the mental and emotional intensity of what had unfolded. People from every corner of the globe engaged, from the streets of Manila to New York, London, Tokyo, and Rio de Janeiro. Viewers were united in amazement. The fight transcended physical combat. It became a viral phenomenon, a symbol of skill, intelligence, and mental strength. If you believe skill and focus beat raw strength, type mastery in the comments and tell us where you're watching from. Bruce Lee's Shadowless Kick would go down in history not only as a legendary martial arts moment, but as a lesson for life. Strength, speed, or reputation alone cannot replace preparation, intelligence, and discipline. Arrogance may dominate briefly, but mastery leaves a permanent mark on everyone who witnesses it. Even long after the arena emptied, the story continued to captivate. Fans recreated the kick in videos, discussions erupted about its speed and precision, and Bruce Lee's reputation as the ultimate martial artist grew even further. The fight reminded the world that true greatness doesn't just win battles, it inspires awe, humbles others, and spreads a lesson that lasts far beyond the moment itself. In the end, Bruce Lee didn't just knock out the strongest fighter, he knocked out arrogance, ignorance, and doubt. He proved that mastery, calm focus, and unwavering discipline always triumph over raw power. The world watched, learned, and remembered, and millions would carry that lesson with them. Inspired by the legend who made history in just 12 seconds. Final CTA. If you believe intelligence, skill, and focus are more powerful than raw strength, type mastery in the comments, subscribe, and share this story with everyone who loves legendary moments like this.